this before. All right, now I want you to cross in the opposite way. Go ahead, Mr. Cardinal, figure it out. How does it feel when you cross your arms the opposite way? Awkward and weird. So it's very likely that I'm going to talk to you about is awkward, might make you feel a little weird. Especially if you've been playing ball for a long time. All right, my approach and my thing is a little different than most. All right? What does it mean to be here in addition to turning your cell phones off? Attentive. Attentive. What else? Be here. What percentage of baseball? I mean, there's the mental game and the physical game, correct? What percentage is mental? 90? What'd you say? 90? Anybody here think that number's wrong? 90%. Probably even higher. So at least 90%. So baseball is 90% mental. Just, I'm curious. How many of you ever spent time focusing on your mental game of baseball? Practicing, preparing it? So how much time do you spend on that? Not as much as you do on the physical stuff. Right? Point. Right? And how much time do you spend on the physical stuff? Lots. And you spend a lot of time on the physical part. A lot. For 10% of the game. 90% mental. You've all just agreed. Maybe you think about it, play it before, little talk, little things. But most people don't understand the power of their mind. What's the one thing you have that no one else has unless you choose to give it away? Your mind. And how do you, a baseball player, give your mind away?
Approach.
Getting down.
Your approach.
Your approach. You give it away to who?
Pitcher.
Your pitcher. Right? Easily. The other pitcher. It's gone. Right? What else do you give your mind away?
Body language.
Body language meaning what?
Down.
Well, think about sitting on the bench. And your head's down and you're moping because you're... That umpire sucks. Can't believe you called. And the thing is, there are a lot of bad umpires out there. I think you've experienced one. Right? There's a lot of bad umpires, but you know what? That umpire didn't have you boot the ball. That umpire didn't have you swing and miss. At the end of the day, you had chances to do what you needed to do. And so the whole point of that mental game being inside is you give your mind away. Sometimes you have parents just from the stands chirping. You start focusing on the pressure they're putting on you. Right? You give your mind away to not being on the field. It's very easy to give your mind away. So I want you to be here to help focus on some of that stuff. Right? Be here. Be open. What does it mean to be open?
Speak your mind.
Speak your mind. What else? Accept what's coming.
New ideas.
New ideas. What else?
Not being afraid to try something new.
Not be able to try something new. So I like to try something new. It's an exercise I often do when I first start speaking. I want you to follow my directions. Sound fair? I want you to follow my... Yeah, if I don't finish a sentence, that means you jump in. So follow my...
Right.
That's what makes sure you're paying attention, right? So I want you, I know this means in sign language, but we're going to make an A-OK sign with your right hand. Make an A-OK sign with your right hand. I want you to do what? Follow my directions. Right? Put it up there. All right? Now follow my directions. You take this A-OK sign and place it right here on your chin.
It's like Simon Says.
Sort of like it. Look around your teammates. Look at your teammates.
What are you doing?
Not quite sure. Right? Shake it off real quickly. Many of you did not necessarily know. Many of you put your hands on your cheek. Why?
You put it there.
Because I put it there. What did I say? Follow my...
Chin.
Direction.
I said follow my... Did I say do what I do?
No.
I said follow my directions. And many of you were very confused by this. I wish I had a camera on your face. Because, how old are you? Congratulations. Today's your birthday? Happy birthday.
Way to spend your birthday, buddy.
To the Elite 15. Thank you for sharing your birthday with us. Right? So here you are at 15, and you're not quite sure where your chin and your cheek differ. Because you're like, well, your face is priceless. You couldn't see it, but I could. I thought, right? You did what I do. Right? You monkey see, monkey do. Right? When this happens in a baseball game, in practice, you start doing certain things, it becomes contagious. out of control. So what do we start doing? We start buying into that stuff, left and right. So be open to the idea that your body language, what you say, how you act, what goes on in terms of this game. Be open to the fact that you can translate, you can transition a game from being a very positive experience to being a very negative experience in a matter of moments. In a matter of moments. So be open to what I have to share with you. I cannot give it to you if you're not open. Sound fair? So please be open. The last part is be honest. I want you to be honest. So I gave everybody, does everybody have one of these little blue bracelets? All right? We'll make sure. For those that have one, take a quick moment and tell me what it says. Play with pride. What does pride mean? What's it mean to play with pride? Play with pride. Again, this is the interactive part. We have a conversation with each other. You volunteer your thoughts, I acknowledge them or dismiss them.
Respect the game.
Ooh, I like that. What does that mean, respect the game?
Play to the best of your ability all the time.
All the time? Yeah?
I mean, at least for me, every time you step on the field, it's a privilege.
It's a privilege. So an attitude of gratitude.
Right.
You heard that before, an attitude of gratitude? That's something it's called. If you look at life with an attitude of gratitude, what does that mean? Everything goes on, you're grateful for. How many kids would love to come play baseball, be part of something like this, but don't have the opportunity to? Gotcha, there's a lot of kids. And probably a lot of reasons why they're not in that situation. Right? So if you have an attitude of gratitude, that means you have an element of appreciation. Right? And so, if you have an attitude of gratitude, and the umpires are there, and maybe they blow a call, whatever it might be, but your attitude of gratitude is what? When you look at the umpire.
At least he's here doing his job.
He's doing his job. If he doesn't show up, what happens? Anybody play a game without an umpire? God, it's the worst. I've had to coach games without an umpire. We've had a parent call balls and strikes. It's worse than replacement umpires in the NFL. Right? Because parents don't know what the heck you're doing, are they? They try to be all impressive with their outs and strikes. It's like, stop. It's just they call ball, strikes. Don't try to make it fancy, right? So, attitude of gratitude is, well, the umpire's here. How about an attitude of gratitude towards your coaches?
Coaching.
Right? How many of you are here because of these guys? Because of these guys over here. Right? Right? Which means what? You could go any place. You can go any place. But you choose this place. Right? They've made choices in their lives to be here for you. Challenging decisions. Between professional ball, whatever it might be. And they decided to take that passion and find a way to communicate it to you. And trust me, it's not easy teaching people how to hit. Or pitch. Or field. Right? Because a bunch of teenagers give other coaches, you get mixed messages. Right? So an attitude of gratitude. Excellent. Where does pride come from? The heart. Why the heart? Don't all let that stop you. It's a great answer. But I like to go deep. That's what it's about. I want to go deep. Why the heart?
Yeah, love it.
What? You gotta love the game. So what you're saying is it's an emotion. That pride really doesn't come from your head. It comes from the heart. But yet, baseball is 90% mental. But you play from the heart. How does that make sense? One would think that if it was mental, then you'd probably come from the head. You're saying it comes from your heart. So I happen to think that pride stands for a lot. Right? Can you go to, ShopRite or Shop and Save over here and buy a can of Pride? Crack that sucker open and slam it down? You guys call that Red Bull, but that's not really the same, right? Can you go to Abercrombie or Hollister or PacSun and buy that T-shirt that you put on that's all about pride? I imagine that you probably put a uniform on. Right? I'd imagine the uniform means something. Right? The uniform. You find out what the uniforms look like? Right? How about when you were a kid, when you were younger? 7. When did you start playing baseball? Your first memory? 5, 6? 5, most people start playing ball around 5, 6? 7 maybe? Remember the very first time you got that uniform? What'd you do with it? You wore it. Every day. You'd sleep in it. It was your pajamas. And those pants were so big and so long. Right? And the shirts were too big. And those hats, they were like styrofoam kind of hat. And the mesh plastic. You think they're cool now, they're called snapbacks, but back then they were get all goofy looking, right? But you wore that uniform because it meant something, right? That's part of the reason what it is, all about your having that sense of pride. Who has pride here? Who has pride to be on this team? How do you know you have pride? I'm glad you threw that hand up.
The way you play the game.
And so how do you play the game? How do you know it's with pride?
Attitude, attitude.
Attitude. It comes from the heart. But how many of you struck out before? Who here's how to strike out before? How many here made an error? How many here made an error? Right? Everybody. Right? Well, if you strike out, what does that mean?
You learn something.
You learn something. Now, if I'm correct, all of you struck out, all of you made errors. Right? What is the element of being great at this game? How are you measured in terms of hitting? Being great in this game. I'm sure you've heard it before. Meaning what? What does it mean average?
Like, I don't know.
You're close, right?
You fail 7 out of 10 times.
You fail. So, have you heard that before? You fail 7 out of 10 times. Would you agree? Out of hitting. Those are the people that make it to professional levels, right? They get paid millions of dollars. They fail 7 out of 10 times. Why would you knowingly pick a sport where you fail 7 out of 10 times? Why pick a sport? Why subject yourself to such pain and anguish?
Passion.
Hmm?
Passion.
Passion. But you fail 70% of the time.
So you succeed 30%.
But when you don't, what? It's what? It's a good feeling, meaning what?
Keeps you young.
It keeps you going. So that one hit you get out of every what? 3 hits out of every 10, right? That keeps you going? Where else in the world could you possibly do a job 30% well?
Weatherman.
Boom! Right? They're actually a little better than 30% nowadays. They're much more accurate. Think about it. There's no other profession. What if you went to a cardiologist who was successful 30% of the time? Or you went to a doctor, you have an ACL tear, his success rate is 30%. Would you go to that doctor anymore? Or there was a financial investor that you go to, and you gave them your money, your life's work, and they were successful 30% of the time in terms of your stocks and choices they made. Would you continue to use them? What if your order, heaven forbid, at McDonald's was wrong 70% of the time? Would you continue going to McDonald's?
It happens all the time.
Right?
Still comes.
So, why choose baseball when you fail so often? Do you really fail?
No.
Of course you do. You just said you fail.
You don't really fit.
What is it?
It's a learning experience.
Oh, it's a learning experience. You strike out, ooh, I just learned something new. I learned that I can't hit a curveball on the outside.
Exactly.
Block the road.
That's a block in the road. You really think so?
Yeah,
From the bottom of your heart.
I do.
How do you know that?
Because I keep playing regardless of that.
Because you keep playing. Even with everything else behind it. So, how's that mental? What does that have to do with the mental game?
I guess every time I go up, I know that no matter what happens when I'm at the plate, I'm still going to go back and I got to go back over to the team.
Now, what happens?
I got another opportunity.
Another opportunity. Right? You're 15, 16, 17, 18, right? Now, those are seniors. You get towards the end of your high school career. Right? So some would say the pressure's on. Right? What are your dreams about baseball? Just curious. What do you want to do with baseball?
College.
Like college? But college club, college baseball, D1, D3, D2? D1?
And
Any? All right. Why any?
love the game.
Love the game, so you don't care what it is, you just want to play?
Yeah.
All right. Anybody want to go play pro? Anybody? If I can get there.
Obvi.
Right?
Obviously.
What do you mean, obviously?
Like,
What's obviously?
if you had an opportunity to play in MLB, you would take it.
All right, but I just asked you who wants to play it. Everybody got nervous about raising their hand. One was, hopefully, if possible. Please, I had an obvi. That's tax language, I'm learning. Right? And so, here's the thing. Here's the reason why most of you, maybe almost all of you, will not make it to the pros. They may not even make it to college. There's only one reason. And one reason only. Yourself. It's inside your head. It's hands down. That's the one thing. Because of all the stuff that we're going to tell you about playing ball in college, playing ball in pros, there are 400,000 college athletes every year. 100,000 graduate every year. None 97% go off and become a professional doing something else other than that sport. Those are the numbers. And by hearing that, you've already thought to yourself, well, that's not me. You say, well, that we want to do it, but most of them aren't going to put forth the effort, energy at all. That's too hard. But what happens if I do say I want to go pro and I don't? That means what?
Failure.
I'm a failure, I'm a quitter. So it's better off to keep that bar low. So if I don't set that bar up with that expectation, I can't mess up, I can't make a mistake, I can't fail. And so we don't. Same thing goes with our schoolwork. Any sport. There's a voice inside of us that actually sits on our shoulders called a parrot. It just kind of squawks. Like you say parrot very quickly. Do a real practice and say parrot 3 times quickly. What does it sound like by the time you parent? Right? I've spoken to your parents, I've spoken to all the parents. A lot of times with our parents, sit right here on our shoulder. What are some of the comments we hear from our parents? Don't what? Don't do it. What else we hear? What's that? Grades. What else? Your face lit up when I talked about this, so I'm curious to know what was inside your head.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. So when a parent says don't give up, what are you focusing on?
Giving up.
Giving up. Right? When someone says don't strike out, what are you focusing on?
Strike out.
Don't say those good words. Right? That's all negative. When we think don't strike out. So if you got 2 strikes in you, and that thought comes inside your head, don't strike out.
You're done.
Right? So what is something you can think of instead of saying don't strike out?
Don't hit a home run. Make conflict.
Well, don't hit a home run. But you'll focus on home run. Actually, won't hit a home run. Doesn't work that well. We can't fool ourselves.
Rossi.
We can't fool ourselves. That's one thing we cannot do. We cannot fool ourselves. We can't say ignore it. We just can't ignore those things because it's not easy for us. But there are certain things you can say when you go up and play with 2 strikes.
Make the ball.
Okay.
Protect. Well, if you say don't go down looking, what are you going to do?
Go down swing.
Go down looking. Right? All right, let's talk about the word try. Someone use the word try. Think about the word try. Well, I tried my best, coach. What is try?
It's a opinionated question.
Can you try to call somebody? I tried to call you.
Yeah.
What do you mean you try to call? Either you call, either you push send, or you don't push send. There's no try. So you tell your coaches you tried, you tell your parents you tried, it's BS. Because try is an excuse. Either you do your best, you don't do your best, bottom line. If you try to do your best, you're still lying to yourself. That's the reason why you think upstairs. It's about doing. It's not about trying. So I'm glad you used that word. Because you use that a lot. Why try? Like, oh, you tried really hard, I'm really proud of you, son. Okay, that's nice. But you're fooling yourself. Did you really go out and give your best? How many of you have gone out and done your best, 100%, game after game, practice after practice? Every time. No one. You give 100% every time? How do you know? You want to call him out on that? You call him out?
I did my best.
You do your best to give, right? But it's a situation. And what are some of the things that get in the way of giving our 100% day in and day out? What's the difference? Injuries? What else?
Focus on other things.
Focus on other things. Life happens. A loss happens. Someone comes along. You yelled at. Your girlfriend breaks up with you. Or you get a bad text, whatever it might be. Get a bad grade. Right? All those different things. And so, you're human beings. If you throw that on top of being a baseball player, odds are really much against you. All right? So, pride doesn't come from many places. We think it comes from your heart. Would you agree or disagree? Right? Pride actually stands for 5 separate words. The first letter is P. It stands for performance. What does performance have to do with pride and the mental part of the game? What do you think?
Your pride shows as you perform.
All right. As you perform, yeah? The way you play the game. So give an example of that.
If you're going after a position that you're hustling at.
What does that have to do with the performance of the game if you're hustling in and out? What does that mean?
Eager.
You're in the game.
Means you're in the game?
Respect
Respect the
the game.
game? Right? Why do coaches say hustle in and out? You thought about that? It what? On one hand, it looks good, but it sends a message. What's the message that can send?
You want to play.
You want to
You
be
want to play? I'm here. I'm here to play for real. We're here. We're serious about this. We take what we do very seriously. Anybody ever go to the League World Series at all in Williamsport? Right? When did you go? Recently? Hawaii, one of those guys? Those guys are good, yeah? Oh, you went with him, but you went, right? Did you ever watch the Japanese team do infield outfield?
No.
Oh my gosh. That was unbelievable. I used to go over just to watch them do infield outfield. It was like a machine. The head coach of the Japanese team would put his hand right back here, and a ball would just appear. And they were so quick and so fast. It was so methodical. It was so unbelievably intimidating. I couldn't imagine being a coach or playing that opposite team going, oh, we got to play these guys. It was unbelievable. It was precise, and everybody was on board. Everybody had something to do. There were no heads down. Everybody. And so we do our infield and outfield. We kind of just go through it, right? But if you think about taking it to the next level in terms of what it means to prepare, what is practice compared to a game? What's more important, practice or playing a game?
Practice. Practice.
Do you agree with that? Disagree? Now, I would say what's more fun, but we know the answer to that question. What's more important to your growth as a ball player? Practice. Right? But often we don't come to practice because we just want to play the game. Right? Because that's the fun part. Well, if I'm correct, I think you stretch before most games. How long do you stretch before a game or before practice? 10 minutes. And what do you stretch? Body, legs. How many of you are stretching your mind? Working on your mental game. Right? And so your performance, if you haven't visualized, I mean, part of what you're talking about is you visualize. It's called visualization. Have you heard that concept before? All right? Elite athletes will sit before a game or before some kind of performance and play it out in their head. If you're a pitcher literally goes pitch by pitch by pitch throughout an entire game. If you're a fielder, you're a hitter, you sit there and you make these plays. You think about it. If you're a catcher, you picture yourself. But it's not if you do it once. It's something you do over and over and over again. Why would that help your performance? Part of what you're going to do. You work very hard your physical part of the games because you're training your muscles. But you're not including one of the most important muscles in your body. That is your brain. Right? So that's about performance. R stands for respect. You've already mentioned a couple things in terms of respect. But what does respect have to do with mental game? Respect what?
Mind.
Respect your mind? Meaning what? Yeah, come on. Yeah, you do. Why respect your mind?
You have to respect yourself.
Because if you don't respect yourself, who's going to respect you?
No.
Right? If you're throwing your helmet and throwing your bat, how does that show respect for yourself? Right? So, is this a frustrating sport? Hands down. You have to play it. Find something else. There's a lot of other sports nowhere near as frustrating. Maybe golf. I'm a big golfer. Right? But everything else seems to be pretty easy. Hockey might be a little tough because you're on ice. Right? Mentioning baseball on ice skates, that'd be really cool. That's the next big sport. That might be tough. Right? But ultimately, so don't play the game. If you're going to throw your guy and get mad, why? If everything really is a learning experience. Right? Respect what else in baseball? Your teammates. Why is that so important?
You don't respect your teammates and they don't want to play with you.
Right? So how many of you played with other players before you came play again? Is there a little mix? Right? Why did you choose to come play here?
Like the coaches.
Like the coaches? What else?
It's a great opportunity.
What makes it a great opportunity?
Just playing a game.
Just playing the game. You can play the game anywhere. You choose here.
It's a higher level experience.
Higher level. Right? And so what you're looking for is to raise your game. And you know that playing here is going to allow you to raise that game. That's respect for the game. We talked about that. This game has been around for, what, 100 years or so? There's a reason why it's 60 feet 6 inches. 90-foot bases. How many stitches on a baseball? What is it? 106, 108? Is it something you hit in your hand every time you jump the field? How many stitches? Don't know. Do you know?
It's different.
Something you play with on a regular basis on a baseball field. You have no idea how many stitches in this ball. Why is that important to know? There's 108 double sets, so 216. 216, not 217, not 215, not 212. 216. How much does the ball weigh? 5 ounces. Not 5.5, not 6, not 4, 5. 5 ounces, right? And how many, what's the circumference? Right, It's all geometry, right? 9 inches. This is something you play with. If there's something behind it, anybody know why? That 80%, 80 feet or 80% of the yarn on the inside has this wax on it. 80%. You play this on a regular basis for a reason. Right? It wasn't just something. Especially there's 3 outs. How easy is it to get the first 2 outs? Like it's so easy to get those first 2 outs, right? Then what happens is that it loses a 3rd out. There's a reason behind that. This is a game of major frustrations. A lot of time have been given into this. It's about respecting the game. What about respecting your opponent? Right? How does that play into the mental part of the game? When we were just talking to the other kids, they were a little bit younger than you. When you're younger playing baseball, there's usually a big size difference sometimes. There's really big kids, right? And so when you see big kids, what do you automatically think in terms of their skill level?
They're monsters.
They're monsters, right? I play a lot of teams, they walk on and they see these other kids, oh my God, that guy's a beast. That guy's sick, that guy's dirty, man, that guy's so dirty, right? He's got wicked stuff. He's got wicked stuff, right? And they're all focused on other stuff, all the other teams. Meanwhile, when you're focusing on them, what do you attract?
Negative.
It's negative. You're not talking about what makes you great, what makes you all your attention is focused on them. So it's about respecting your opponents. And you play tournaments, right? So you have no idea if a team is good or bad. You have no clue. They could have an awful infield outfit. Doesn't mean squat. And so these tournaments, you treat every opponent as what?
Good. Equal.
Or that they have something to come up. They're gonna be competitive. They have to be better, they have to be equal, but they're competitive. That puts it in a place where you understand that in terms of your ability. I stands for integrity. What does integrity mean?
Believe in yourself.
It's one of those words that's sitting somewhere on your school walls and hallways. Integrity. You have to have integrity. What the heck does that mean? What is integrity? I don't know. It's going to be an SAT where you better figure it out.
Don't cheat.
Huh?
Don't cheat the game.
Don't cheat the game? Meaning what?
You play it the same every time you go out there.
All right.
Don't do anything that would
Yelling at umpires? Yelling at your teammates? Getting mad because they booted a ball? Only one situation in my entire life did we literally have a player who lost the game for us. It happened once and once only. He couldn't control his temper. We had a runner on third base. We were down by 1. He had 2 strikes. At the 2nd strike, he cursed a lot of stuff. The umpire said, please apologize. All he did is, the umpire said, please apologize. He didn't apologize. What did the umpire do? Threw him out. And that situation, game done. That's the only time I was embarrassed, ashamed, ruined the integrity of the game. There's something to be said about integrity. Integrity is also about being a leader. Who here is a leader? Excellent. That's it, 4 leaders? How come you didn't raise your hand?
Because I don't think I'm a leader.
You don't think you're a leader? How come you didn't raise your hand?
I don't think I'm a leader.
All right. What about you? Don't think you're a leader? You guys over here? Don't know how to answer that question? Don't know. Got me, coach. Got me. You raised your hand, right? Why'd you raise your hand? Say?
Set my own example.
Yeah.
lead the team.
What makes somebody a leader? Here's the thing about being a leader. Whether they can pick somebody up. How do we view leadership? How does somebody often become a leader? It's quote unquote the best player. That's what we make this general assumption. One of your teammates says the best player. So he clearly must be the best player. He's a leader. Oh, no, I didn't say that. I don't want to become arrogant and cocky. That's why most people didn't raise their hand, because they're afraid of how their teammates perceive them. A lot of people I'm going to talk to speak on behalf of some of those that sitting here saying, well, if I raise my hand, that means I'm cocky. I'm arrogant. Well, that happens all the time. But what if I said either you're a leader by choice or by default? What does that mean?
Do you want to be a leader? Or do you
Either you're either leadership by choice or by default.
Choose to be one, or people believe that you are one.
Whatever it is, if you don't identify yourself as a leader, then what you're going to do and how you behave will define what kind of leader you're going to be. Does that make sense? So whether you realize it or not, Choice or no choice, you're a leader of some sort. But we believe leaders need followers. But some of the best leaders are also great followers. They know when to stand back and say, it's not my turn. A lot of places they say, the pitcher's the leader on the team. You would agree or disagree? Other coaches say, the catcher's the leader on the team. Agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Or the shortstop, or the shortstop, or the center fielder. Which one is it?
Pitcher.
A lot of different opinions. But if you don't see yourself as being a leader, guess what you've done? You've cut yourself off. For whatever reason it might be. Just curious. What was the reason why you don't see yourself as a leader?
I've got no idea.
No idea?
I don't know.
But you just didn't think you were a leader? No one's ever asked you that question before. And so think about that. The great thing about baseball is every time you're in the box, who's the leader in the box?
You.
That's you. Still think you're a leader? What position do you play?
Outfield,
Outfield. What position do you play?
third base.
All right. Does that mean you're not a leader in your position? You're a leader in the outfield?
Sometimes.
What position?
Outfield. But I mostly play left field.
So that means you're not going to be a leader in the outfield?
No. Center fielders.
Well, a center fielder's the person who can see both. It doesn't make them a leader in the outfield,
True.
right? But a lot of people who lead from behind, like a shepherd does, right? They stand in the back and they don't say so much. Or they let their play speak for themselves. I'm the kind of ball player that I go out there and I hustle. I don't need to cheer people on and root and holler. I just let my ball play. That's it. And because the way I play demonstrates what kind of leader I am. But whether you believe it or not, you're a leader. And how you choose to be part of this team is up to you. If you don't see yourself as being a leader, then you're going to be potentially one of two things, either a positive leader or a negative leader. What's a negative leader?
Bring the team down.
How's that?
Throwing your stuff. Cursing off team.
Cursing out, head down, bitching, moaning, yelling at the coaches, they don't know what's going on. I'm better than so-and-so. What's a positive leader?
Everybody else.
Right? Now, I will tell you this, I think everybody needs to learn how to sit the bench. I just think that's part of what you need to do. And if you're going to play competitive baseball, there's no better place to learn it. Coaches can help you understand what it means to sit the bench. Because at some point, if you're going to play this game, you'll sit the bench. And if you don't have experience in the bench now, what's going to happen when you get up to college at that level and you're sitting the bench? You're not going to like it. I'm not saying you have to settle for the bench. I'm not saying that at all. There's a difference. I'm not saying settle. I'm saying learn how to sit the bench. Learn how to see what it feels like. Let that be a motivator to you. That's a person with integrity, great integrity. D stands for determination. What is determination? Will to play. Right? I would imagine that you have a lot of determination to play this game if you want to play college. But do you have enough determination? What are your goals with baseball? What's your goal with baseball?
Making it to college and pro, AAA, AA,
So your plan is to play college. You're not quite sure. Somehow. You're going to make it somehow.
Yeah.
Street channel.
What's your goal for this next season?
I'll get better.
What does that mean to get better?
Feel better, make better choices.
What does that mean to feel better, make better choices? Well, if you don't know what your goals are, if you don't set that determination, then how do you know if you're going to be there? How are you going to achieve it? Right? I imagine when it comes to grades and schoolwork, you have certain levels of determination you need to reach. What's your what? Whatever the good grades are, A's, B's, whatever it might be. Well, how do you grade yourself in baseball? What are your different categories in terms of grading yourself? Right? Stats. And so what sometimes happens, you start focusing on me. Right? And E stands for excellence. What's excellence? Successfulness. Now the thing is your level of excellence might be different than your level of excellence, which is different than yours. Whose level is right? Right, whatever yours is. But most people don't set a bar of excellence. They set it kind of low. I want to get better. Nothing wrong with that. What does that mean, get better? How do you know if you don't, that level of excellence, if you don't define what that is, then how do you know if you're going to get better? And you can be honest with yourself and what it means to get better. What is your team's level of excellence? Anybody? Can anybody share that with me? What does it mean to be excellent on this team? Is it wins? Is it runs? Win tournaments? How many tournaments have you won?
0.
So what does that mean in terms of your level of excellence? Have you achieved it? So what's your level of excellence? All right, but what does it mean? Is everybody on that same page? Well, you think so, but do you know so? Well, you hope so because that's why you're here. But who's to say the person next to you, I don't know you, isn't on that same level of excellence? Well, if they're just here about me, I just want to get big to the pros. That's all I care about. I'm on this team so I get better to go to the pros. Is that something you want on the team? Right. It's the important thing to think about why are you here? So pride stands for 5 separate things. P stands for performance. R stands for E stands for I stands for making sure you're paying attention, right? T stands for and E stands for, right? You put those together, you talk about playing with pride. Now, part of what my role here in my wonderful relationship with your coaches, which I'm so blessed we discovered, is focusing on this mental piece. But it's going to take time to figure out how to go about it. Those who decide to continue on will have a chance. Everybody who comes gets what's called a playbook. We break down the components about how to focus on performance, respect, integrity, determination, excellence. We put together a rule of success. We talk about leadership. But the one thing I do want you to do is think about the kind of player you want to be with baseball. Now, if you notice there's certain posters around this area, right? What kind of posters do you see? A lot of baseball players, right? But not just any baseball players. Which baseball players? The All-Stars, right? Just curious, do you have any kind of these posters in your rooms, or maybe you did a couple of years ago? You have a lot of these, what do you have up on your room? Mike Piazza. What other kind of pictures do you have up on your walls?
Bo Jackson.
Who? Bo Jackson. Old school, baby.
Who knows?
Oh my God. Auburn. That boy was sick. Football, baseball, right? I've heard that name a long time. Thank you for bringing that back. How about you?
Jeter.
Derek Jeter. You know Derek Jeter's story? Do you know much about his story?
Kalamazoo.
Oh, that's where he's from. Kalamazoo. How old are you?
16.
16. What age was Derek Jeter in the pros?
19.
18. He's 18. Right? What happened as an 18-year-old as he began to rise to the ranks of the New York Yankees? What do you think it was like to be an 18-year-old in the minor leagues?
Young.
Far from home. No mom, no dad. You know he cried? Talks about it. Did you know that? We know that where he is today. Why do you think he cried? Did he know he was going to be Derek Jeter if we know him today? He had no clue. Right? He was scared. 18-year-old kid, away from home for the first time, amongst men, with like beards and stuff, right? He was a little skinny guy, right? So, Derek Jeter. But know him for who he was and how he got there, not just for what you see on the wall. Who else do you have on your walls? Cano? Robbie. What do you know? Robbie Cano. Right? Who? Muggsy. Oh, Munson. Oh, you're a Yankee. Bugsy Malone. Not Bugsy Malone. What's his face? The basketball player.
Muggsy
Bowes, right? So you all have some kind of pictures, right? Why do you have these people on your wall?
Role models.
Role models. You got the picture, right? So that means what? You met him and that means something. There's a relation. It's a personal story, right? You got Piazza on your wall because what? You're a catcher? Favorite player, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to go one step further. There's something called a vision board. Anybody hear the concept of a vision board? Anybody ever create a vision board? It's going to feel very awkward. It's not just going to make you feel funny. All right? But I want you to think about it. It could be 8 by 10, or it could be on a poster board, however big you want. But the idea behind this, I want you to think about what kind of baseball player, what playing baseball means to you. It could be pictures, it could be words. I want you to think about what it is you want to get out of baseball. And that's going to be your vision about the baseball player. It will feel, for some of you, very awkward and silly as you do this. And you're going to be afraid that if you come in here and you're going to share with your teammates, people are going to laugh. They're not going to laugh because everybody's feeling the same situation as you are. But this exercise has nothing to do about your teammates, but more about doing yourself as an individual. And if you needed to get another picture of yourself playing, put together some kind of vision board to describe what kind of player you want to be. And we get back together in 2 weeks. You'll present it to your team and we'll talk about more what it means to have a vision when it comes to playing baseball. Do it. I'm not going to tell you it's required, not to be graded on it, by any stretch of imagination. But if you really want to start thinking about your mental game, this is one of the first steps. And when someone asks you about this bracelet, all part of this is about having pride. And so when you see someone, your teammate, getting down, say, dude, have pride. Play with pride. Any other questions? it's a little bit late. We had to wait for a few of you guys. Get your McDonald's.
Mayor.
Right? Guys, thank you very much for letting me speak to you.